Hello, I am going to be VOD reviewing another one of my games to figure out what I'm doing well, what I need to do better with. So I picked out a game that I actually lost, and I wanted to do some research and figure out why I lost, what are some things or common errors that I'm making, and see how I get punished to see if I can fix those, and see what I'm doing well and what I need to continue doing. So I guess we can start talking about this game. All right, so before going through any of the gameplay, let's go through the court and figure out the game plan for my team. So obviously this is me. I tend to get to the line pretty consistently, dink, and have good hands. I tend to have a little bit less aggression than most, which I am working on, but I think the most important thing is getting to the line. Uh, Over here, my teammate, we have Chris. Chris is a very hard hitter. He has very good hands, very good drive, creates a lot of pressure on the court. Um, Up here, we have Ben. Ben is just an overall very solid player, very fundamental. He has good speed ups and he tends to have he has very good hands. So he likes to speed up and get in hands battles, but he is very good about getting to the kitchen as well. And then last person on the court is Mike. Mike is the best person on this court. Very good, very powerful player. Gets to the line very consistently. Has strong drives, good consistent drops, and very good hands. And um, something that I've said about everyone is about how good their hands are. I believe this game is going to be very much about hands battles, especially because I believe it is my teammate's strongest aspect of his game is his hands and his drives. So I'm expecting high, fast-paced gameplay here, and we'll see if we can execute better than them. And before we get into any gameplay, feel free to leave a comment if you want to go through your game. You want to send over some gameplay of yours. We can go over your decision making, ready position, stuff like that to really help you get to that next level. So I think that'd be fun. So just reach out. Recently, Anna Bright put out a video talking about how often are you getting to the net. So I really wanted to focus this video on that. So as the serving team, I want to see how often are my shots and decisions getting me to the net. And on defense or returning, let's see how often my shots and decisions are keeping my opponents away from the net. So that's what I'm really going to focus on in this video. All right, so the first point that I want to look at is this one. And I'm on the returning team. I'm returning right now. And I want to look at our fourths and sixths to see what we do to keep them back. So I hit a ball kind of at his feet. It does have a lot of spin, but it doesn't have that much pace on it. Um, but it is a harder ball to reset because of how much spin and that he has to short hop it, which leads to a pop up that Chris can easily put away. All right, looking at our next point, we have a very good drop from Chris that got Ben to hit the ball from at his feet. And this ball's a little popped up. And here I have the decision of do I want to try to speed this up or do I want to do a fifth shot drop and get to the line? So I decide to go for a fifth shot drop and I get us to the line. And now we're at neutral. So I'll consider this a success. And we ended up getting a point out of it too. Here we're going to see where one of my common issues are Um, I'm trying to be a lot more aggressive on the fourth ball. However, or fourth, sixth, eighth, trying to not let them come in. And uh, I want to be aggressive, but sometimes I make the wrong decision. So here's one of those examples. So Chris is doing a good job of keeping them back. And here, I get a ball. And here, the common thing that I'm doing is, or my pattern, my bad habit, is I'm hitting this ball kind of hard, and I keep hitting it at the person who's kind of blindly crashing. So in this case, it's Mike. So I'm going to hit this ball really hard at Mike, and he ends up just getting it back easily and winning the point. Now, how did I go from such a good position to that? So I have this here. So now, instead of hitting it at the person who's already more established closer up, I should be hitting it over here. So I can either go over here and see if I can get Mike and not hit it super hard, but hit it with a decent amount of spin so it dips, to see if I can get Mike to overcommit. And if he goes for it, then I can go down this line. Or because we'll see here that Ben is just crashing, I could even go soft down this way and make him have to reach off balance and make it that Mike can't even come in. So imagine how much easier this point would be, or better this point would be for us, if instead of just ego hitting this ball hard at the person who's up to show them that, hey, you can't just charge up, if I took some pace off and put some spin here and make this bounce at Ben's feet, which is a lot easier because of how much farther back he is and how aggressively he's running in. Um, this could be a really good point for us. But instead, I just give it back to them, and they get an easy point. All right, going into this next point here, let's see if we can hold them back. So here they put up drop, and then a high, was that a fifth? So here I'm taking this shot. I see they're back. I want to keep them back. I can go for something really hard and make it harder for them to reset, or I can go a little bit softer and go with a decent amount of spin, which is what I end up doing here, making it hard for them, and they hit a ball out. They couldn't get to the line. All right, looking at the next point, I'm serving here. I hit a third that he hit from below the net, that Mike had to hit from below the net, so this ball is likely going up. Partner then goes and dinks, gets to do an aggressive dink because it was a bit popped up, and we're already established at the line, and it looks like we got a point from it. So success. All right, going into the next point. Nice deep serve. It's a drop. Try to get it, but I miss. That's a drop I need to make. Wasn't even that pressurized. I just kind of missed it. I think it maybe hit the net, but either way, you should be able to recover from that and get to the net. But because I couldn't, I'm going to consider this one unsuccessful. All right, jumping into the next point here. They're serving to us. Let's try to keep them back. A great drop by Ben. Look at where that's landing. I should probably be taking that out of the air, but fortunately for me, because the return was so good, neither of them have pushed up this far, pushed up very far. So I get to hit something relatively aggressive on this ball, which I'm not sure I necessarily should or will be allowed to in higher levels of play. But here I get to, and I hit it, and I hit a pretty good fourth, dipping at Ben's feet, and he has to hit it up, which gets me a higher ball. Mike tries to get out, but we end up getting through this point without letting them at the net, so that is success. All right. One thing that I've really been working on these last few weeks has been my drive. I feel like I don't cause much pressure with my drives. So you'll see here that I go for a drive and hit it out. So don't get to the line and kind of just throw away a point. I will say I would prefer hitting a ball long like that than hitting the ball into the net, because when you hit the ball into the net, uh, you will lose that 100% of the time. However, if you hit a ball that is going to go out, there is a chance that the other team is going to hit the ball. So, although I would prefer to hit the ball in the net, into the court, um, I would rather hit it out than hit it into the net. But again, this just really can't happen. Can't be missing thirds like this. It's super critical to get to the to neutral to get to the kitchen line. So this is a major fail. I know I've mostly been talking about thirds and fourths of thirds, fourths, and fifths to really getting into the kitchen line. However, a big thing here also is how good your serve is. So, how good your serve is, you're going to get an easier ball either to drop or drive and can win a point quickly, and how good your return is. So, here you'll see an example of me hitting a not so good return that they didn't really even need to get to the net because it was so poor that when you can just run in and then just win the point itself. All right, going into this next point, you'll see here that I hit a relatively good fourth here. Make Mike hit the ball. He does go very aggressive and decides to speed this one up to try to crash. However, because he hit it so low, he did end up having to hit the ball up. So this is most likely going to be out. My teammate ends up hitting it anyway, and the point continues. So they get to the net here, and here, unforced error. I've been finding these a little bit more in my game recently, especially these little volleys here. That this ball is waist height that I need to be able to put away relatively consistently, and I keep putting it into the top of the net. So this is just an unforced error that really I need to work on and fix, because these volleys tend to be uh, where I'm making a lot of issues in general. Going into our next point here, we'll see that Chris hits a good shot back here to make Ben uh, be out of position for me. He also pops up the ball here. So, like I said earlier, I should not ego hit the ball hard at Mike, who's already set and planted. I should either try to go something with a lot of spin in the middle to try to get Mike to commit, or I'm going to get rid of this option because that's exactly where um, Ben is. So I'm going to try to hit that with a lot of spin in the middle, and it gets a winner. All right, going into our next point here. He hits a good. I hit a good fourth. I made it bounce by Mike's feet, and it made it a really hard ball for him to reset, and he couldn't. All right, jumping into our next point. Here we're keeping him back. He crashes. I do get that out, and we do keep him back. I will say I'm not super impressed with my shot here. He got a good spot on my chicken wing. I will say this, it kind of reminds me of that little Gabe Tardio weird backhand that he gets across. But I do get it decently fast to Mike, who ends up hitting it a little bit too high to Chris, who puts it away. All right, jumping into our next point. You'll see here the power of a good serve. So that was a pretty good deep serve here, which really gave me a lot of court to be able to get this ball down at Mike's feet. So I hit a good drip and then get an easy fifth to be able to get to the kitchen. So this is a success for us. Chris ends up popping one up. I do again another Gabe Tardio counter, but this time completely miss, and we end up losing the point. But I'm going to consider this one a success because we got to the net. All right, jumping into the next point here. Good drop. I misread this, and I'm not in a relatively good position to hit this drop. I do get it over with backspin, but not really. I couldn't get closer to the line, uh, which leads to that aggressive shot that I decide I would like to counter. Let's see where it was. It's around waist height or higher. I'm fine with this decision. I don't love where I hit it. I hit it in the middle. I feel like I maybe could go down line or maybe aim at a chicken wing. Um, but I end up hitting it right to his forehands, get in a hands battle, end up losing it. Don't regret my decision of sweeting that ball up, but it did cause us to not get to the line, so I will consider this not a success. All right, jumping into the next point. Here, I go for a little drip here, a little drop. It's it hard. I'm trying to reset. Here, I was running and off balance, so I did not feel like I could uh, drop the ball effectively. There's also this little pillar here, so I do not feel like I could go for an ATP. So I was just trying to keep the ball alive, like I said earlier. So I go for a little sky lob here, no get, and we eventually lost, but making them hit that extra one or two shots where they could mess up is pivotal. Make them earn it, make them win their points, don't give them anything for free. Okay, so looking at this next point here, see I want to do something aggressive here, a lot of spin keeping back, and they hit two resets in, getting a little hands battle, slow it down again, and they end up getting to the line, so I'm gonna consider that a success for them. But we did put a lot of pressure on them and ended up winning that point, or stopping them from getting a point. Looking at this next point, this is an example of it might not always be pretty, but getting to the kitchen is always super important. So it doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be perfect. Look here. Here it's a bit of a pop-up. One person on this court right now. Well, Chris is still recovering from that hit. There we go. And I decide to go slow and drop it. So here, waiting for one more ball, and boom. We're at the kitchen. It took a bit. It took a few extra shots, but we ended up getting there. So this is a success. And the ball ends up going out, so we get a point as well. All right, and watching this last point of the match here, we'll see another really good point. Good drop, got a good ball, make them both go into that middle, try to short hop it. They do reset, and they get to the kitchen. So that's a success from them. They did a good job getting to neutral. So let's see how the rally goes. I probably could have done something a lot more aggressive with that because of how far Ben was off of the court. Instead of just hitting a dink to Mike's forehand, I could have maybe instead try to push it over here and either make Mike reach for it or make Ben run back and reach for it. But I do hit a nice easy ball to Mike, so not using the aggression that we necessarily should. We're continuing the point. I get a counter down. I get it down at Mike's feet, and they end up winning the point and winning the game. So uh, overall, it was a good game and it was a lot of fun. So I didn't go through every single point with you guys, but I had some stats of what happened during this game that I really think are important to look at, and was the reason why this game A was so close, and B why I ended up losing this game. So uh, the number of times that my team, which was me and Chris, either got to the net or we won the point prior to getting to the net was 14 out of 18 out of 28. So 50% of the time we either got to the net or we won the point prior. Oh wait, this was Ben and Mike. The number of times that Ben and Mike got to the net or they won the point prior was 13 out of 30. So a 43.33%. So what ended up happening was I guess they were just losing more at the net, or they were getting points on unforced errors that they didn't need to get to the net as much. So um, the time I looked at the percentage of um, points won for my team. So this is just going to be uh, me and Chris when it was neutral. So this could be when we were serving. This could be when they were serving. But the when all four people were at the net at one point, who won a majority of the dink rallies, hand battles, whatever. And actually, Chris and I won 7 out of 12 of the rallies when everyone won. Everyone got to the net. So it seems like getting to the net was our strong suit. I think we just made too many unforced errors, which brings us to our last point. I wanted to see my specific unforced errors in this entire game. So I made 7 unforced errors. I had 2 drives that were out. I had a drop that I missed. I do think it clipped the net, but again, it was an easy drop that I need to be able to hit. I had 2 volleys that need to be either something aggressive, but I put it into the net. I had a missed return, and I had a dink a pop up that I ended up losing a hands battles for. So, good and bad that I don't really feel like a lot of these, it's not like I have 8 missed dinks that I need to work on my dinking. It seems pretty well spread out, which is, I guess, good and bad. But like I said, I've been working on my drives, and those were 2 of my errors. And I've also been working on being more aggressive with my volleys, and those were 2 of my errors. So combining those, that's 4 out of 7. That's a big percentage. More than half of my errors were because of that. So I need to continue to work on that and get them to be more aggressive, but also be more consistent and not give away free points. So overall, that's what I would say went well and went badly in this game. And I think looking at some of these bad habits and these decisions that I make is going to help me get to the next level. So thank you all for watching, and let me know if you want to have me look at your gameplay. Have a great day, everybody.